G'day my dear friends, how's it going today? I hope you're doing well. So we finished the first part of Steve Harvey's story, and let's do a quick recap. When Steve was 9, he wrote on that piece of paper that he wants to be on TV, but at that time he used to stutter. His teacher kind of made fun of him, or she didn't encourage him enough, so as his classmates, they laughed at him. And not just that, it was his mom too, that she didn't support him at all, or let's say she didn't believe that he would reach that dream. And his dad was the greatest supporter for him. As the years passed, Steve says, I finished my high school and I joined the college. I couldn't believe that I got the acceptance letter from the college. My mom had tears in her eyes, and she looked at me in the eye and she said, Steve, you're gonna be a great thing in the future. Goddamn right, he has become a great thing, but the way he wanted, not the way you wanted, Mom. I didn't like some certain subject at school, so I had to skip classes. And you know what happens when you skip classes? You get expelled. And that's what happened with Steve. He was expelled from college. He was shocked and felt so down. One of his friends looked at him in the eye and he told him, Steve, you cannot finish anything in your life, man. As any one of us would take this to heart, that I'm a failure and he probably will feel down and this is the end of life for me. But Steve didn't deal with it like that. He dealt with it differently. He just stopped there and thought for a minute, what was the reason behind me getting expelled from college? There must be a message out there. Anyway, he dropped college and started looking for a job. Looking here and there. Finally, he got hired at Ford. He was making good money enough for him to live a good life for a guy in his age. Alright, so we all think right now that Steve's all set with his new job at Ford. He's making the money and he's just gonna keep going in life. But that's not exactly what happened with him, because you know what? Ford has shut down. When he got that job at Ford, he used to go back to college to meet up with his old friends, buy them supplies, pay them some bills, buy them food, to the point they loved his visit and they could hardly wait for him to come and stop by. As days passed, you and me are thinking right now that Steve's all set. You got the money, you got the job, and everything is perfect. But that's not true. Because what happened was, Ford had to shut down, and they did. And now Steve with no job. But again, for the second time, Steve dealt with it positively, and he told himself there must be a message behind that. And again, he started to jump from job to another. He worked in all kind of jobs you can ever think of. He needed to support himself. One day he was thinking about what happened in the new past and asked himself this question: what would have happened if that Ford plant did not shut down? And the answer is, I would have become just a regular employee who was making regular salary and living just a normal life. I would have never achieved my dream. And that's the way we're supposed to look at some certain things in our life, guys. Behind everything happened in our life, there is a message there. Try to take it positive than negative. If you think about it positively, believe me, that will be a big relief for you. But if you think about it negatively, this will impact your future. Struggle is part of our success. As Mark Manson mentioned in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fudge, our struggle determines our success. Steve kept on going in his book and said, I've always loved to make jokes. When we are a group of people, I've always loved to make them laugh. That was my gift. That's the one thing I love to do. I was a master in making jokes. I used to sell jokes to a stand-up comedian for a few dollars. I mean, like peanuts. I was sitting around a table with a group of people, and there was that one lady. She saw me throwing jokes everywhere and making everybody laugh. She gave me an offer. She was like, why don't you come and perform these jokes on stage? She kept telling me, like, man, you are crazy and gifted at the same time. And she mentioned some few names, and she mentioned some of the names of these stand-up comedians, and the name of the guy that Steve writes jokes for, he was there. And Steve was like, do you have that guy? I said, yes, I write jokes for him. Really? There you go, you got it. Let's do it then. At that time, I was selling insurance policies. Anyway, I went to the comedy club and she started to give me a tour around. Here was the stage, here where the audience sat, and what it was back then, that someone actually go on the stage and, you know, throw jokes out there for like 5 or 6 minutes. And then if the audience like him, they'll clap for him. If they don't, they booed him out of stage. There was a list of the comedians that are going to perform that night. There was like about 10 of them. I was watching them there and I had that belief in myself that I'll do great. I'm gifted, remember? While I was watching them, I could tell which joke will make the audience laugh and which joke won't. What good has he done or add to the joke to make the audience laugh? Yeah, I was gifted that way. I was a master of making jokes. I just want you to imagine the level that Steve is at of making jokes. Anyways, comedians started to go on the stage one after another until number 10, who didn't show up at that time. So they said, okay, we're gonna start off the list that will perform tomorrow. And Steve Steve was on top of that list. So they called him up and Steve was like, huh, they have a comedian here who has my name? That's so weird. The lady behind him looked at him and was like, dude, you're really stupid. It's you. Go on there. And then I went on stage and started making jokes. And literally, I nailed it. People were cracked up. That night went great. And after the show, the lady gave me $50. And she offered me to drop me off. And on the way, dropped me off. On the way, I started crying really bad. And the lady looked at me and she was like, why are you crying so hard? It's only $50. You haven't made anything yet. I told her, you don't understand. This $50 came out of my gift, came out of the thing I love to do. The next day, my dear friends, guess what Steve did? He quit his job and he said, this is the one thing I want to pursue. Making jokes, make people laugh. This is my dream and I'm going to live it. So I jumped among comedy clubs from here to there, performed here and there. And again, life would just slap you on the face. I went through some hardships and struggled again. I lost my life, I lost my money, I lost my wife, and I became homeless. I lived in my car for 3 years, jumping from city to another, state to another. I want you to imagine yourself living in your car for 3 years. What would that be like? I want you to imagine how many times Steve couldn't sleep because of the cold, or woke up because of the sun heat, and couldn't sleep because of the sound of the rain. Must be tough, right? Anyway, Steve's story hasn't finished yet. This is just part 2, and we'll keep on going, and over the next episode we'll learn together what did Steve do, and now he's homeless, and how did the chance knock on his door. Thank you very much for your precious time. I do appreciate it. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.